We live in an exciting and challenging period in human history. We've taken our first steps off of our home world. Soon Voyager 1 will leave our solar system, our very first venture to literally reach for the stars. We've done and created amazing and wonderful things. But the honest and hard truth is that we also continue to do some truly terrible things. One of the worst of these is war. The project, A Future Without War, is based in San Diego, California. Essays on its website argue that it's time for the global community to launch an all-out campaign to end war. AFWW takes the view that war, which has always been a great destroyer, has become dangerously obsolete on a planet filled to the brim with human beings and their powerful technologies. Obsolete to the point where thoughtful persons see engaging in war as a quite stupid thing for us to still be doing. War gobbles up resources, human and financial, that could meet so many needs for our environment and for human well-being. Because women will be pivotal to a campaign to abolish war, women's issues are an important focus of AFWW. International Women's Day occurs annually in early March, and in San Diego, the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice hosts an International Women's Day breakfast. It's well attended by women from a variety of civic, religious, political, and educational organizations. This year, a handful of men were also in attendance. A song by Diana Velasquez from the University of San Diego's Women's Center set the tone. A welcome by the Institute's interim executive director, Dieker, was followed by a report from New York. Every year in the weeks immediately preceding the breakfast, some San Diego activist women travel to New York City to attend a remarkable annual meeting of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. This year, over 6,000 NGO, member states, and UN agencies attended 57 different sessions. The Kroc Institute staff has for 10 years made a presentation at this important gathering, and these San Diego women have reported back to the women at the breakfast. Jennifer Freeman, program officer of the Institute's Women Peacemakers program, introduced Michelle Larocque, who shared a brief description of her experience the first time she attended this exciting United Nations event. Breakfast has also always hosted inspiring speakers who could enlighten the gathering about some aspect of women's progress. This year, Nobel Peace Prize laureate Leymah Gbowee was the honored guest. Here she is arriving dressed in green. Before everyone settled down, Ms. Gbowee was greeted and photographs were taken. AFWW first began attending 9 years ago. Then speakers typically spoke in terms of asking for help. Women were asking for help in post-conflict situations, help with problems of poverty, rape, trafficking, discrimination, domestic violence. As years passed, reporting took on a different tone. To get the changes they wanted and needed, women in ever-increasing numbers were beginning to take charge, to step into leadership roles. Now, after only 9 years, the Nobel Peace Laureate brought a yet more challenging tone. Leymah was a mother of 4 who found herself surrounded by a brutal civil war in her country, Liberia. The documentary film, Pray the Devil Back to Hell, tells the story of how Christian and Muslim women in Liberia banded together to put an end to their particular war. They began by seeking an audience with their dictator, Charles Taylor. Before she spoke, a short section of the film was shown to introduce her.
Finally, he decided to meet with us. People were just edging and edging and edging, and people were feeling faint. And then we realized that it was fear of the unknown. Going to meet Taylor that day was the moment that I've lived for.
Ms. Gbowee, coordinator of the Women Peace Building Network.
We ask the Honorable President of the Senate, being a woman and being in line with our cause, to kindly present this statement to His Excellency, Dr. Charles Taylor, with this message that the women of Nigeria, including the IDP, we are tired of war. We are tired running. We are tired begging making this stand to secure the future of our children, because we believe as custodians of society tomorrow, our children will ask us, Mama, what was your role during the crisis? Kindly convey this to the President of Liberia. Thank you.
Ms. Gbowee's talk, centered on ending violence against women, was received with rapt attention. She described how in Liberia she began to use a radio program to highlight women's issues that affect development and justice, to create awareness of enormous problems caused by rape and domestic violence. It's time, she said to her breakfast listeners, time for women to stop preaching only to the choir. Time to work everywhere, for example, to bring to this breakfast next year engineers, contractors, businessmen, and politicians. She called on women to walk our walk. Her talk was received with an enthusiastic standing ovation. Next year, there will be another International Women's Day breakfast, and the tone and focus of reporting on the status of women will continue to evolve. It's the hope of a future without war that the day will come when the reporting includes an announcement that a campaign to end war has begun. And when that happens, we expect that women will be in the forefront of that campaign. If you are curious about how we can end war, visit our website, afuturewithoutwar.org, and in particular, see the essay, Shaping a Future.